Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a comment, and feel free to do whatever you want to do down below. Talk to me about future videos you want me to make about guitar, music-related things. So today we are talking about the Guitologist's video that he did about 2 weeks ago, talking about the Gibson guitars leaked insider documents with the Gibson brands, Gibson authorized partnership, and basically, as you can see from the title, it's kind of whether or not these things are actually legit. Where he got the information from. Is the information legit, or is this something that's all just made up? So I don't really know, because the reason I'm questioning it, I'm not saying, because I have no evidence either way at this point in time, I'll just start there. But the reason I'm questioning this is because there is no PDF versions of these documents available for us to read. Gibson's not going to say anything because they don't want this information being leaked, and whoever leaked the information is probably got a lawsuit on their hands, definitely. You know, Gibson doesn't want this information around if it is in fact true. And because there's no one else that's talking about it, really. I mean, he is the only person that currently has a video that I can see on this. You know, none of the other popular YouTubers are talking about this at this point in time. None of them have any of this leaked information. And I think it's just kind of weird that he exclusively has this information when there are plenty of other guitar YouTubers that are bigger than he is. And honestly, I don't see why whoever leaked it wouldn't have leaked it to one of them before they leaked it to him, unless they fully trust him, which is definitely understandable. But at the same time, it's not that hard to go into an editor, you know, basically blank out everything, blank out all of the wording, blank out, you know, people's names, things along those lines, and just give them the document with names, you know, basically whited out or blacked out. So I don't really see why he would have exclusively gotten this. I waited a couple weeks to make this video because I was hoping that the documents would be, you know, show up in a PDF form, but I don't even have a screenshot for any of you people watching this currently, because the only places to get a screenshot was I would basically have to take a screenshot of a screenshot, and they don't always, you know, look good per se. I may or may not link the original video down below of him talking about it, but let's just kind of get into the bread and butter of this document. And if it is true, it's extremely unfair. If it's not true, I mean, then who cares? But the gist of it is that it's basically only for boutique builders. And the reason I say that is because according to this contract, or whatever it is, you can only make 50 guitars that are like have the Gibson shape per year. Basically, it says Gibson can pop up whenever they want. If they tell you no, you can't sell that, you can't sell that. There's nothing you can do about it. However, you know, they can't technically modify the body shapes, because you see all of the Les Paul shapes out there, all the Explorer shapes out there, SG, Flying V, you know, the guitars are around. They just modify the headstocks a bit, modify the body shapes a little bit, and that's all you get. I believe Gibson pretty much lost all the lawsuits that were pertaining to the open book headstock, to my knowledge anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, feel free to in the comments down below. But this wouldn't make sense for Gibson to do at all, if it is in fact true. And the reason I don't think it's true is because why would they tell a builder that you can only build 50 guitars? Gibson is getting part of this money. Gibson is getting paid, you know, by this company, whoever the company is, to build guitars that look like theirs, and are licensed by them technically, with the Gibson name associated with it somewhere on it, you know, authorized by Gibson somewhere along those lines is going to be stamped on that guitar, built to specs too, you know, they're going to have access to all of their parts. So why would Gibson not want to, you know, limit that to 50 guitars per company? For instance, you know, you get a big manufacturer like Dean, because I know they have a few lawsuits against Dean, that wants to make their body shapes and say authorized by Gibson. They could stand to make a boatload of money off of them. I don't know if it's per guitar or if it's just per agreement of how the whole, you know, deal goes, but it's very restrictive. You know, basically they can show up whenever they want, tell you exactly what to do. Truss rod cover designs, headstock designs, similar things along those lines. Everything have to be in spec. They're going to give you all the parameters of the guitar itself, so that way you can build it and kind of make it your own. But that's the main reason I'm questioning it. Is it would not, from a financial standpoint, where Gibson has been hurting in the past, where they're suing all of these different companies, doing all these different lawsuits, sending cease and desist orders, etc., it would not make sense for them to limit the amount of guitars an authorized dealer can make, because the more guitars they make, theoretically, the more money Gibson makes, and that just makes sense in my mind. Why would you just limit it to 50 guitars? It doesn't make any logistical sense, which is that is kind of the main reason I am questioning this specific document, because I don't think Gibson would be stupid enough to not take money where they could easily get it. So it may be hard, you might be a little restricting, definitely. Let's see here. I'm just going to skim through his video because he does have screenshots of the information. A lot of it is grayed out. We don't get to see a lot of it. Basically, Gibson is the sole owner and rights to trademarks, and you'll do nothing to challenge Gibson's things. Basically, saying that if you have a contract with them, you can't go out of your way ever. And like if the contract disperses, I think you're basically SOL, which is kind of a good idea on Gibson's part, because if the contract disperses, bad blood or whatever is going on there, I would definitely want to get rid of that whole situation too. I wouldn't want to allow them to make similar style guitars, with the same headstock, the same body shape. They would have to be somewhat different. You look at like the ESP series single cut guitars, EC1000 or whatever the heck they're called. I believe it's the EC1000, and they are similar but different at the same time. They're not the same parameters. Body might be a little thinner, horns a little different, headstock's shape is different, etc. But they're going to have to change it up, and I'm guessing that's just what they would do. They just wouldn't, make it to Gibson specs. They would just change it up in order to make it look a little different. But as I said, I don't 100% think this is real. I don't know where they got the documents from, who sent them the documents, because they're not going to. No one's going to say that information, because that person can get severely punished on the extent of the law. But there's your major issue right there, is like there's no proof of where it's coming from. He is the only one that has access to it, and there is no documentation online showing it for everybody to read themselves to get their own information, minus what he wants to show you from the document. So, I don't know. It's not that hard for somebody to type something up, make it look official in a PDF document, print it out, take a couple of pictures of it, and be good to go there. There's literally zero proof to a T that this is real, and there's also zero proof to a T that it is fake. I am kind of leaning more on the fake side at this point in time, because there's no evidence to back up that this is real. That is just my personal opinion on the matter, that there is zero evidence to back this up to prove that this documentation is fully real, because why would Gibson limit themselves to that extent when they could 100% make a large amount of money by licensing their body shapes to other companies who can mass produce them, and then the more guitars they make, the more money Gibson makes. So even if they are on the cheaper end of things, yes, you have your Epiphone line already, which is understandable, but at the same time, throw some shapes at Dean, Fender, and whoever else wants to be authorized by Gibson, and they're just swimming in money. It makes logical sense for them to do that. It doesn't make logical sense for them to limit it to 50 guitars, because those guitars are going to be very expensive. What people are going to do is they're going to make them to specs of old guitars. Like I think one company has already done it, where they made a legitimate Carina Flying V and Explorer. Everything looks the same, except it just has their logo on the headstock. All the parts are Gibson, everything's from Gibson, everything's to spec. I don't know what the price of those things are, but I'm guessing it's definitely not under the $10,000 range, because if you have something that is that customized, that to spec exactly, it ain't going to be cheap. Let's put it that way. It's not going to be a cheap guitar. It's going to be very expensive, and you're going to have some deep wallets in order to, get that out into the world, have somebody actually buy it, because that's the only way they would do it. And I don't see why would anybody even want to be an authorized Gibson dealer unless they were trying to make 50 grand off of one of these guitars, because that's the only way they're going to make a good amount of money off of them. Because if I can only make 50 guitars a year, those guitars are going to be very well meticulously made, and they are going to be very expensive. I don't know if they can make other body shapes, or it's just the exclusive Gibson body shapes that are limited to the 50 a year. We don't really have that information in the contract, but I'm guessing the only thing they can make is Gibson possibly, if Gibson wants to be really restrictive, it would be the only thing they could make is Gibson specs. They would have to have like their own kind of separate part in their shop, like, you know, have a part that's just dedicated to making the Gibson stuff, and then have a part that's dedicated to whatever else. From what I've seen in the documents, it doesn't specifically say they can't have an agreement with another company or they can't build their own body shapes, to my knowledge, but I don't think this is a real document. I honestly don't. Prove me wrong, you know, publish the document, give me the entire thing with just the names, word it out, you know, get other people looking at it, get somebody, you know, an authorized dealer or Gibson themselves to confirm that it is real, and then I will say, yes, this is real, but I don't believe it. When there's literally only one singular person, I'm going to see if I can find anything else in this document. No, it's not going to show me anything else in the document. But when you literally have a single person and nobody else that has the documentation, it's just a bunch of red flags for me. So, as I said, I can respect the guy. You know, I watched some of his videos here in a while. I told you to help him out a while back. That got like 4,000 views. But I need some concrete evidence that this is a legitimate thing, and then maybe you can make me eat my words on it. But also, it's only like 4 pages, or at least that's the only thing that they are showing us at this point in time. So who knows? But I mean, the way it looks like somebody. It's just, you know, it's words on a page. Anybody can type words on a page. That's kind of where I'm coming from, and that's why I'm saying the things that I say. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.